Sorry to keep you waiting here on the Midnight Zone. You might ask yourself, why is it called the Midnight Zone if it's not airing at midnight? It's because the Twilight Zone was already taken. That's why. We're going to talk about everything monstrous, scary. Oh, ghosts. Shapes in the background. Scary noises. All of those things to go bump in the night. But only as I can do it, which is with no desire to be scared at all. Because I don't even like horror movies. I rarely watch them. So what does it mean to be truly afraid? Truly scared? Let's find out by talking about Godzilla. Answering the age-old question. Is he a mythic monster or a monstrous myth? That's what you're going to find out tonight as we delve into the Midnight Zone. Totally not a ripoff of anything else. Yes, indeed. Godzilla. Mythic monster or monstrous myth? That's what we're going to find out as we journey into the Midnight Zone tonight. What I would like to start out with is a discussion of the recent movies, all the way up to Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Hear that? Scary noises in the background. I don't know, they're faint. I don't know if you can hear them. Scary. Ominous. What was that? I see shapes moving. Anyways, Godzilla, King of the Monster. You know, she could have just put that DVD in and it wouldn't be buffering. Instead, she's watching it on streaming when it's right on the shelf. Speaking of streaming movies on HBO Max, that's where I watched Godzilla, Kong Skull Island, and Godzilla, King of the Monsters. I'll be back. I must delve into the night. It was scary. Anyway, so Godzilla, King of the Monsters, streaming now on HBO Max, which, if you subscribe for Justice League, and now you're not sure exactly what you want to watch next, it should be better now. We should not have any more problems, hypothetically. Anyway, so Godzilla, King of the Monsters, let's actually start talking about it. First, we talk about the original Godzilla from 1950s. Boring. Always kind of fell asleep when it was on, and I mean, I got through it, let's be honest. But there's so much talking and nonsense in it that eventually you just get tired of watching it, and you're like, all right, I'm going to fast forward this old VHS tape till it gets to Godzilla wrecking some stuff. And then maybe it'll be entertaining. But probably not. Okay, he's wrecking some stuff. Okay, it's over now. All right. I never watched any of the other Godzilla movies. I saw bits and pieces here and there, but never was really into them all that much. Then I watched the Godzilla movie with Matthew Broderick that everyone loves so much? You know that one with Matthew Broderick, and the guy from The Professional, and a woman. I don't know which actress it is. But those are the ones that I watched. And they all had their pluses and minuses. And then I watched this new Godzilla. Well, new as in 2014. It wasn't until it started buffering. So then I watched that one, and it was okay. It's funny when I get here to talk about these movies and comics and everything, they're just okay. That's why I don't just talk about and do a review about everything I watch, because I don't have passionate things to say about everything that I watch or read. Oh, the ghosts are moving in the background. You can see their shapes. There's a tiny little ghost. You see that? There was another ghost. I can see its knee. What? The ghost gave you a piece of chicken? Yes. Anyways, I don't know. I don't have much to say about these Godzilla movies. I just wanted a title to get people to come in. What? They were entertaining. They were monsters fighting. If that's what you want to watch. Kong Skull Island was like the most stereotypical 70s movie. The movie set in the 70s that's not really from the 70s. There are two heads growing out of the side of yours. I'm Ghidorah, dude. I'm Ghidorah. Simple. It's as simple as that. I'm a Hydra. Exactly. It's okay if you want to turn your mind off for these movies. But anyone that praises them as being like the greatest thing ever, you see people that they have all these hyperboles and they want to talk about these action films and these monster movies. Oh, they're great. They're great. Like, no. Alexander Solzhenitsyn's One Day in Life of Ivan Denisovich is great. 1984 is great. The Lord of the Rings is great. This is just good. And that's okay. It's no The Thing. It's no Alien. It's on par with Predator or something like that with Schwarzenegger. That's not Terminator or Terminator 2. That's what it's on par with. And to pretend like it's some great piece of art is silly. But also to dismiss it as if something that's merely meant to entertain or amuse you for a little while can't be worth your time. Oh no, there's the ghost. He's so white. I think the phrase is guilty pleasure. Right. There was a line in Godzilla King of the Monsters that was the worst line in the movie. And then it was followed by an even worse line. And then an even worse line. And I just thought, wow, these actors, what must they have thought when they were asked to perform these lines? Do you think they thought to themselves, or they said it loud, well, this writing is garbage. This is a terrible line. Why am I saying this? I'm just explaining what everybody knows is going on. Oh, that was the ending line. So it actually got one step worse because they said stupid things. And then the character's like, explaining what was happening on screen. You're like, oh, that's some great telling there. That's some great telling there. I really need to know your gobbledygook. Reverse the polarity of the neutron flow. Reverse the polarity of the neutron flow. It's like Star Trek when they try to bring... Star Trek has always been soft science fiction, by the way. Sometimes they bring in some hard stuff, or like every once in a while, oh, there's a Dyson sphere in the background of this one. Oh, great. Yeah, that's some real science there. A ghost. A ghost. I see it. It's floating in there. Oh, my word. The ghosts are everywhere here on the Midnight Zone. But Star Trek is about sociology and things like that. But when people try to pretend like they need a bunch of hard science, like, you gotta be hard science to back up this Star Trek stuff. It's like, no, man, it's just techno babble. It doesn't mean anything. These things don't exist. They're not real. One of my problems with movies about giant monsters fighting is when people try to legitimize them to me with some sort of scientific argument based around the physics of the universe. Like, why are you wasting your time with this? Just enjoy it. Well, this is how I enjoy it. You could be curing cancer with the amount of time you spent justifying the physics in Pacific Rim, my friend. Let them fight. Oh man, just what if you took out. What is he? What is the ghost crying about?
Stand in the corner with him.
The ghosts are crying. Maybe turn on something he likes.
That's what I'm trying.
All right, maybe that'll keep him past the ghost. I can see his little face. He seems to be staring out into the nothing, into the nether. FlyFox Silhouettes Incorporated. Anyways, if you cut out these human characters and you just had them fighting, just had these monsters fighting, how much on-screen time do you think there really was of the monster fights that you come to see? I would venture to guess that there was not that many. There was not that much screen time. Not that many minutes. Not that much screen time of actual fights taking place. 15%? Yeah. It's pretty slim. And there was a scene. It was funny. It's like when, spoilers for a movie that's years old. Spoiler alert for Godzilla King of the Monsters. Forget that. I'm so tired of issuing spoiler alerts. Stupid. Anyways, Ken Watanabe sacrifices himself, and there's some pathos to it. Oh my word, another ghost. Because you're like, oh, it's Ken Watanabe. He's a great actor. And then later, this another character sort of sacrifices themselves, and I was just kind of like laughing at the reaction. So I was like, I don't care. I don't care about this. This is melodrama. Like even Bryan Cranston's death in the 2014 Godzilla, I was like, meh. Didn't care. I expected him to be in more of that film, and he just died like less than halfway through it. He's like, I'm dead. Oh my word. Jeez, you kind of led with that guy being in the movie, and now he's not. What's up with that? What's up with that? And these movies, they don't have to have these great dramas, right? Mark Antony says they fooled everyone in the 1988 movie, and then again in that first of the more recent Godzillas. How'd they fool them? Don't tell anybody. This is a secret between me and Mark Antony. Nobody else should know. I don't hate that 98 Godzilla movie. I actually don't think it's that bad. Is the fandom even counting that 98 one anymore? I don't know. What dumb. What does it matter that this one's more dumb than others? Oh, it was Americanized. It's about giant monsters eating people and causing havoc. So now we're going to watch, next we'll watch Kong vs. Godzilla, the Rumble in the Jungle, the Thrilla in Manila, Titan versus Titan. Not Titan Muscle Might, but, you know, these giant monsters battling one another for who's the king of the world. There was even less of the giant monster causing havoc in '98. The babies did more. Yeah. But it was like running around and airplanes were flying through New York City buildings. What's a ghost mad now? Oh, yeah, in the military. Yeah. But if you just had the monsters fighting, nobody would, oh man, they wrecked the garden. Nobody would watch those movies if it was just the monsters fighting, because you have to have a break from the monster fighting action. Like, you can only see so much of it, and they've got to keep it interesting. And if you go back and watch, like, I'm not making fun of these, by the way, but if you go back and watch the rubber suit days, you're just kind of like, no, okay. I mean, how much slow-mo monster falling can you tolerate? Or you watch like Super Sentai, Power Rangers, Turbo Force, Zeo, Space, Lost Galaxy, Go! And you just see all these, you see these fights, and it just gets so boring. I remember even as a kid watching Power Rangers, and I was like, is there ever going to be one where they don't just get super? And I'm sure it's changed for all you Power Rangers nerds. I'm sure it got better. Well, actually, in Power Rangers RPM, they didn't ever win the day by just pulling out the giant Buster Sword and killing it. It was actually very, very sophisticated. I'm sorry, I'm not 7 anymore. Don't watch Power Rangers. But as a kid, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, they, every time they defeat the monster, and then she'd throw down her staff, and she'd be like, grow larger, my monster, and then it would grow all large, and then it'd be like, bark, bark, bark. And it'd be huge, and it'd be like a giant chicken clucking around or something, and then they'd be like, Zord time, go! And then their Zords, and they'd show the same footage of their Zords, like popping out of a mountain or something, like, and then they would all combine, and they'd be like, this week we're selling a bow. When they show some bow, and they'd fight first, and then they'd be like, let's combine our weapons into a bow, and then we'll let it go, and it'd fire our magical bow at them, or technological, or maybe it was magic. I don't know. Was it Zordon? No. What's his name? Gordon Bombay up on the moon. He was he magic, or was he technology based, or both? We would play Power Rangers on the playground. Well, I went to a Christian school, and so I made up my own like Christian version of the Power Rangers. It was awesome. It wasn't awesome. Yeah, it's Zordon. No, it's Gordon Bombay. Don't you remember? Duck, Mr. I don't know what's her name. Rita. Duck, Miss Rita. That's what he says in the movie. Don't you recall? I mean, show. Magical girl names, especially. Oh, animes, stock footage. Yes. Well, I mean, even Power Rangers itself is using footage from another show in order to make a new show. That, you know, is not an adaptation. It's just a total new show made with footage from another show. I always wondered why suddenly they went from being in Southern California to looking like they were in some Asian city. It was always weird. It was like, wow, the architecture looks strange. This looks like those Hong Kong films, or not, I would say those Jackie Chan films I watch sometimes. Jimmy watches Power Rangers, and he watches Godzilla and Kong films. I've been wanting to go back and watch some of those rubber suit ones just to see if they're as great as I remember. I actually turned one on. I have no idea which one it was. And the little guy was actually interested in it. He likes old movies. I think he likes the long shots and the little action that goes on in them. No joke, I think he does. And so we watched a good portion of that, but they had not gotten to any monster battles yet. And it was like 30 minutes in. I was like, what is this? What is this? Where are my monsters at? Why aren't they fighting? But Power Rangers, yeah. What a great concept to sell toys to children. And freaking Saban, that guy made money on. Oh my word! There's a new ghost. A ghost of a dog. Look how white its face is. You can only see part of it. Oh my word! That's so scary. That's so scary. Holy crap! What's it doing? Did you see that ghost? My word. Anyways, that guy made Power Rangers into this, and he made a ton of money off of it. Then he sold it to Disney. Then he bought it back and sold it and made new episodes and then sold it again for another profit. Dude is a champion. I mean, can you imagine? You should stream every single Power Rangers game. Man, you'll never make it through. You'll die. You'll want to die. I'm sure they're all terrible. Godzilla and Godzuki. Hanna-Barbera. That's good stuff right there. There's Power Rangers games on like the Sega CD. You gonna get that? You gonna get on the Sega CD? You gonna play the Power Rangers game on the Sega CD there, Jimmy? I don't think so. I think the only Godzilla that I consistently liked was the animated series right after the 98 film. I watched so much of that, Mark Antony. That was awesome. I loved that show. That was a great cartoon. He was always fighting huge monsters, and you saw tons of fighting of monsters. It's probably the percentage-wise of actually seeing him fight a monster. There was also, Fox Kids during that era was absolutely killing it. There was like Rusty, Big Guy and Rusty the Boy Robot, and there was that. And there was this weird cartoon based on the Evolution movie with David Duchovny, and there's all kinds of stuff. Fox Kids absolutely killed it in the 90s. And then they just said to kill themselves and not exist anymore. And then they're like, oh, now we have 4Kids TV. Like, what is this? What is this? I realize I'm too old to be watching this anyways, because I'm in like high school. But these shows are, I don't even understand. What is this? About these pirates, and they like want this One Piece or something. I don't remember the name of it, but they wanted this One Piece. They were all searching for it. There was like some pirate king left this treasure called One Piece somewhere. I can't remember the name of it, but so he left his treasure One Piece. Again, I don't remember the name of the show, but he left it somewhere, and they were like searching for it. And I would watch an episode, and then the next Saturday I would have football practice or something, and I would like come back and be like, I missed the episode. I have no idea what's going on. How did they get here? What are they doing? I'm not watching this. I don't remember the name of the show. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. And the human characters mattered in the series. That's right. There was like an Asian girl and a guy that wasn't Matthew Broderick. I think she was somebody's descendant from Japan or something. Or no. She might have been like the daughter. I don't even think she was Japanese. I think she was the daughter of Leon the Professional, if I'm remembering right. I mean, I haven't seen the show in 20 years, but I think that was the case. Oh my word. Just stop, Mark. Stop. You better be looking these up and not just remembering them, or else that's really, really sad. The new Christian Whitehead port of Sonic CD is a great game, actually. I'm not saying there weren't great things on Sega CD, my friend. I'm just saying Power Rangers probably wasn't one of them. Jimmy says, I did Rebel Assault on Sega CD on my old channel. Really? Do you own a Sega CD? Or were you you emulating? Audrey, who I found myself simultaneously liking and disliking more. Oh no, Mark. Oh. Yeah, you're smart. You're a smart guy, though. You haven't wasted your entire life. And plus, there's things I remember from back then. But I mean, hopefully, you've watched it since then. You've watched it more recent than me. You're like looked it up. And you're like, you know what? I'm gonna watch that old Godzilla show. I just found out that Big Eye and Rusty the Boy Robot is on DVD, so I'm gonna be searching that out at some point. Frank Miller created that. It's a Frank Miller property that was adapted into a children's TV show. Can you imagine? Think about the things they adapted into children's TV shows. They adapted Savage Dragon. the comics, it's like totally not for children. Like, oh yeah, let's make this comic. Did you read the comic? No. What? Oh, I mean, like, he crushes a guy's testicles in the first issue. What? Who does? The good guy. Oh, the good guy? Yeah, he does it to a cop. Why? Because the cop's a mean racist. I don't understand. Did he get arrested? He's a cop too? Yeah, he didn't get arrested. Everyone just sort of is like, okay, I guess this violent assault on another cop when we're down men is this totally legit. And the guy's definitely not going to press charges and then get him kicked off the force for literally assaulting him. And all these other cops that are in the room, they're going to get compelled to go to court and testify. Totally ruin everyone's career. No. Oh, this doesn't matter because it's just a crappy comic book? Oh, okay. Like that Mortal Kombat cartoon on USA Cartoon Express? Yeah, man. All the great old cartoons. Mortal Kombat. Savage Dragon. Wildcats. I mean, that was a classic, Wildcats. I mean, pretty much all the Image comics. Did you type that in the wrong chat? How dare you watch Gary Shipman's streams at the same time as me? Anyways, I don't know who Nigel the Robot is. Relief Robot is. I'm not sure who that is. That definitely wasn't great, that Mortal Kombat cartoon. I never watched it. I remember there was a crappy live-action television show of Mortal Kombat. But I didn't really watch that either. I think it was on in tandem with the Beastmaster show. But I could be wrong. I think they were like back-to-back where I lived. They might not have been linked, but that's the way I remember it. Oh, gonna get in trouble. But I bet you are watching Gary Shipman at the same time. It's okay. But basically, not every old cartoon was great, especially if it was an adaptation of an Image comic product. Basically an Image property from Image Comics. It was most likely going to be crappy. You know, at least Todd McFarlane was smart enough to know, well, my comic's not for kids, so I probably shouldn't make a comic book for kids. Oh, but you make toys for kids, Todd. Well, I mean, but the cartoon I shouldn't make for kids. Let's put it on HBO so we can have all the violence in it, and all the storylines, and actually have the tone of the comic. Oh, but you're still making a comic or toys for children, aren't you, Todd? Well, yeah, but that that's different. That's toys. That's not a TV show. Then that awesome movie came out with Michael J. White. That great CGI. Remember how great that was? That was scary. That was a scary movie. Almost as scary as My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Okay, The Guile Show featuring other characters sometimes. Yeah, Street Fighter cartoon. You had your Street Fighter. You had your Super Mario Super Show. There was also a 3D animated Donkey Kong show at one time. I bet Jimmy watched that. That was some great stuff. That was a great show that I watched for like 2 weeks. It was on. Fox Kids, man, they were killing it. Such great programs for so long. And then they just died. And they're like, we're not going to make any more shows. We're not going to have any shows on here. We're just going to farm it out to 4Kids. And then 4Kids is like, oh, let's buy the crappiest anime and this show about the pirates that I can't remember the name, where they're looking for One Piece, the treasure from the Pirate Lord. I put on the cough button for you, I hope. All the Sonic cartoons, there were so many. There's so many different ones. There's one, the original, where he's just sort of like being goofy with Tails, and then there's one where there's all these characters, and it's like Underground, Sonic Underground. Sonic's radical this time, dudes. Sonic in the post-apocalyptic world where Dr. Robotnik's taking over. You better believe it, son. Radical. Mark Anthony misses watching Saturday Morning 1 and eating breakfast when we were kids. One Saturday morning. That was on ABC. Pepper Ann, something, something, Pepper Ann. She's like 1 in a million. $10 as Mark Anthony had a crush on Pepper Ann. Yes, cartoons were awesome, and they've ruined them. They're all derpy and stupid now. I see a ghost, but it appears to be in some sort of diaper. Oh, now I see the ghost. He's coming this way. He's moving around. He's flying around. I don't see him. Oh, there he is. Oh. Gargoyles. I don't watch Gargoyles, but I have it over there now, and I've seen some of them. They're pretty good. The Mighty Ducks cartoon. Anybody remember that? I watched that one. The silly one on weekdays. The silly one with music on weekdays. The silly one featuring humans that no one cares about. The CGI one out now. And what? What? I was talking about Sonic still. Okay. Then you had WB, and the WB had a bunch of great shows that they made for Fox in the early 90s, and then they were like, oh, let's rerun these on our channel. Oh, good idea, man. These are great. Yeah, let's make a bunch of, and they'll make these shows, and like we'll adapt Static Shock, and then we'll have the Zeta Project. But they also made Batman Beyond, which was awesome. Batman Beyond is a great show. But they made Static Shock and the Zeta Project, and they had some goofy ones too, like Coconut Fred's Tropical Fruit Island, with Rob Paulson as the main man doing the voices. And then they started bringing in these foreign shows that were cheap, like Cubics and other great shows that everyone loved. And on Fox, they brought in things like Digimon. Pepper what? Sure, Mark. Sure. I believe you. What was I going to say about Fox? They brought in something stupid, but I don't remember what it was. So when I was thinking about Cubics. Oh, Fighting Foodons. 4Kids TV. The champions of all television, brought in the absolute crappiest stuff. You're just like, what is this? Why are you making this? Why did you do this to us? Why do you hate us? Why do you hate children? 4Kids. Why do you say they're eating a jelly donut when they're clearly holding rice? It's clearly rice, and you're saying they're eating cereal. I don't understand. And now there's no market for television for children's shows unless you're going to pump out something really crappy for Netflix. Lost him. Must be trying to research silly Power Rangers games. Probably is. Think they were all side-scrolling beat-em-ups. Well, not that. The Sega CD ones, like a FMV game. So not all of them. Hashtag not all of them. Hashtag that's That's kind of stereotyping them, isn't it, Mark? Being a little prejudiced against them. Those Power Rangers games, I think. Like all the games on the Panasonic 3DO? Yes. Exactly. Exactly like those games. Except worse. Somehow. Power Rangers. Go! Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Power Rangers in a Mighty Morphin. Power Rangers. That's how it went, right? That's how this music went, right? That's the theme. That's the melody. That's the tune. We all remember it. That classic Power Rangers music. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I'm pretty sure that's how it went. I think I heard a ghost singing it. Let's listen closely and see if we can hear a ghost sing it again. No, we just hear a ghost scream. Oh my word, that's even scarier.
Go, go, Power Rangers.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Then they had something on Fox called, or it was either on Fox or it was on WB. It was called Spider Riders, and they had this crappy, because both at different times Fox had 4Kids TV, and then like Fox Box or something stupid, and then 4Kids WB or something. Oh my word, it was terrible. But anyways, there's something called Spider Riders, and they made a song for it. And it's like it's this rap rock song. And it's like an anime thing, and they made a song for it, and it's so terrible. You should look it up. But back to Godzilla, because this is the Midnight Zone. I was going to call it the Midnight Hour, but I'm pretty sure that's already a thing. So I called it the Midnight Zone, so it could be a rip-off of the Twilight Zone instead. I got to get my face right in that spot where the shadow is the best. There we go. Right there. No, right here. There it is. Oh, the ghost. Oh my word, there's the ghost. My word, it's scary. All the Turtles and Power Rangers fans are going to be after me. Probably true. Anybody remember Life with Louie? Pretty sure that had a Godzilla episode. Where like Louie turns into Godzilla and he starts stomping around the town. Or Bobby's World. I'm sure there was a Godzilla reference in Bobby's World. Just has to. If you go on Peacock right now, you can see the old Beethoven cartoon. Beethoven. This void. I mean, the ghost void. I don't know how I get out of here, out of this midnight zone. It's kind of scary. In the future, I plan on having more prepared things to talk about on the midnight zone, other than just throwing it up at the last minute. Yeah, Beethoven cartoon. Basically, back then, in that period of the 90s, if there was a hit children's movie of any sort, they were going to make a cartoon of it. Or if it was a movie meant for adults that children too watched, like Ace Ventura or The Mask, definitely going to have a cartoon adaptation. Oh, but couldn't you just say The Mask was adapted from the comic book and not the movie? Oh, I'm sure it would have gotten an adaptation just from the comic book, and the movie had nothing to do with it. It's popularity. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective cartoon. I don't even want to watch that. Speaking of The Mask, Rob Paulsen voiced The Mask. Little known fact. Rob Paulsen of Yakko Warner fame. It's true. He voiced a lot of characters. They all existed. They're better left in the past. Forgotten. Just like I will forget the names of all of these characters in these Godzilla movies because their names don't matter. No one needs to know them. They are Ken Watanabe. Sorry, I pronounced his name wrong. Ken Watanabe. Eleven from Stranger Things. Who else? Skinny weird guy that's in lots of movies that I've seen. Oh, and the guy that gets tomorrow's newspaper today from Early Edition. He's in that. Those are their names. They don't have their characters don't have names. They just have, oh, there's that guy. Oh, I know his name. John Goodman, Samuel L. Jackson. What are the characters' names? John Goodman and Samuel L. Jackson, my friend. Oh, look, it's Pillboy. That's Pillboy from The Good Place. He's also in an episode of The Office where Michael gets lost and Holly has to find him. They have to use Holly's innate abilities of knowing where Michael is to find him. And Pillboy plays the gas station worker. What? Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman? What are you talking about? Hanna-Barbera one? I know what you're talking about. Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman? What's going on here? Which is why I can name all the animated 98 Godzilla characters memorable. Exactly. And I'm sure if I had watched it more recently, I could name them because they're just that great. Life with Louie. You have Louie's brother and his dad and his mom. They live in Wisconsin. And they love the Packers. They love going to the Packers games. And eating cheese and stuff because they're from Wisconsin. And there was a male doctor, stereotype character, kid character, token black character. Are we describing Captain Planet? Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. Remember that show? That existed. That was a thing that happened. My mom liked that show. The rest of us were like, can't we just turn the TV off? I don't want to watch anything. No, you must stay here and watch Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. Or else. That didn't really happen. Their hydrofoil. What are you talking about? Oh my word, Mark. You just need to hit the delete button on some of these memories, dude. They're useless to you. They benefit you in no way. Where'd the ghost? I can see it moving around again. Did you see that? My word. These ghosts. Should we try to communicate? Oh! The ghost is in pain. Should we try to communicate with it? Ghost. Oh my word. It went like this. Sounded like to me. Okay. You have a lot of storage? I mean, you're going to have to get some expansion slots there. Possibly. Did you hear that? I think the ghost went like this. I'll try to communicate with it. Oh my word. I don't know if you guys can hear those ghosts in the background, but they're making weird noises. This is scary. I don't know what to do. Just need more RAM so I can access it faster. Same here. Speaking of RAM, I'm building all my PC parts came today. So I'm going to be building my PC tomorrow. Not all of them came today. The last ones came today. I have accumulated them all as of today. So there's a case, there's a motherboard, and a graphics card, and power supply, and RAM, and all kinds of stuff. All kinds of great stuff. CPU, other things. Amazing. PC. It's the way to go. It's the only way to fly. Uh-oh. Is that transphobic, calling it a motherboard? Can't we just say, like, birthing parent? Or not even that. I mean, what do you say, like, carrying? I mean, what's the correct term here? We're not supposed to use mother and father, so, like, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Carrying parent? Birthing parent board? Something like that. Yeah, PC parts. I'll put it together. And then we'll be able to stream a lot better. Be able to do things that we used to do, like play video games. And have my lovely face on the screen while we do. And, like, use this other, better camera. We'll still use this one, though. Just in case. We'll keep it around. Okay. So, Godzilla, what do you guys think? Mythic, monster, or monstrous myth? The ghosts are fighting again. My word.
No kidding.
Oh my word, the ghosts. Okay, monstrous myth or mythic monster. We're going to take a vote now. If you think that he is a mythic monster, I want you to hit like. And if you think he is a monstrous myth, I want you to hit dislike. And then we'll see who wins. Okay? And then I'll switch them all back to likes so I have 100% likes on this video, because that makes me feel better inside. Depends on which Godzilla we're talking about. No explanation. You just have to make your decision. You don't need facts. Just based on feelings. That's what everyone else does. That's what everyone else does, my friend. I do have another eye. Look at that. It exists. Oh my word, the ghost. The ghost. The ghost. My word. All right. I'm checking it. I'm checking to see who wins. So far, I think Mythic Monster is winning. If we're talking Geno, that's just a large variant of a dino that may or may not have existed. Just stop. You're embarrassing yourself. Atomic breath variant. Myth. Okay. So far, Mythic Monster. Not a monstrous myth. We have determined it once and for all. The battle of whether Godzilla is a mythic monster or a monstrous myth has been determined through strict logical debate between Mark Antony and himself. Primarily, his nostalgia for the 98 animated series won out. And he based most of his decisions on that. So we know it must be true. Because nostalgia. But what about the ones that breathe straight fire? Fake. Not real. Gotta be blue or black and white. Gotta be in black and white or blue. It can't just be fire. It's yellow or white. No. Unless it's black and white. Technically, all of them would collapse under their own weight. Stop. I told you none of that physics garbage. Oh, how do we... At least you're not trying to justify it. Oh, well, actually, the physics in the world describe that their bones and their muscle are actually made out of titanium. And they actually have hollow bones, like birds. So they're very light. And when they crack under the weight... No, because they actually have a mini black hole inside of their stomachs, which allows them to gather the nuclear radiation together and maintain their structure, because everything is constantly being pulled towards the black hole. So it maintains its structure while also not crushing their hollow bones. What? My word. Calm down, you weirdos. Technically, I read that. So less myth and more history if they somehow magically appeared. Could you imagine? There are huge creatures, but they live in the ocean. And they don't hold their own weight up because they're swimming around or floating around in the water. They're not supporting their own weight. Could you imagine how ridiculous? There's a problem with trying to bring in logic and physics to these things, and people try to do it. Well, actually, I've studied the background material for it. And the background material suggests... What? Is that what you need to enjoy this movie? About monsters breathing fire at each other? Breathing atomic breath straight into their mouths and stuff, and like breaking their necks, and like hitting them with a stick, and like getting a chain, like a boat anchor with a chain wrapped around it, and like swinging it around King Kong, and like using it as like brass knuckles to punch it and stuff, and like cut off its face and things. And like a giant moth turning into dust that like floats down and heals Godzilla. Is that what you need? You need to know the science that supports it? Well, I mean, I know it's not real science, but I want the in-world science to be consistent. You're insane. You're insane. Okay. Here's the deal. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go and watch Gary Shipman's stream now. I expect to see everybody over there. And what I also want you to do is go to his stream earlier today and leave a comment on the one where he interviewed Doug TenNapel at the end. I mean, I was on it too, but you don't care about that. There's some suspension of disbelief, but not that much. Like time travel movies. But see, there's a difference between suspension of disbelief and like when a film's trying to be realistic, right? Like the Nolan versus Batman movies. Superman cannot exist in that world. He tries to make it so realistic that no other superhero could exist in that world because anybody outside of Batman just seems silly. Anybody outside of Batman just seems silly. Superman could exist in that world. You'd be like, whoa, my suspension of disbelief is totally broken. Why is there a guy flying around? So the more cartoony you make your movie, the sillier it is. But the more you can suspend disbelief. The more serious you make it, the less fantastical elements you can have in it and still expect people to suspend their disbelief. It's why something like Dragonheart or Aragon seems way more silly, even though they're written to be silly, versus Lord of the Rings. And why Lord of the Rings works. Because it has silly things in it. It is jokes. But predominantly it's taken serious, and it's a low magic setting. Whereas if you have dragons flying around, people riding on dragons and stuff, those people would have to do a lot more work to make those things believable and serious and have people actually take them serious. Oh my word. The end game was so terrible, dude. What a I'm going to get in trouble for that. It's just okay symbol, you idiots. My word. Anyways, the point is everything's racist now. Well, why is half his face black? He must be putting on blackface. Hey, what are you doing? One of the ghosts was eating the baby. Another ghost, the ghost baby's chicken. Let it shout right into the microphone.
Fortunately, she didn't get anything.
Yeah, that ghost was licking the plate. I saw it. Endgame was terrible. Endgame was bad. Endgame was a huge letdown. And yeah, that's what's going to get me, being in shadow. It's not all the statements I make about certain things being sins or answering people's questions truthfully when they ask controversial questions. Sometimes I think that my friend Chris from high school comes into the chat just to get me canceled, just so that someday if I make it, that they'll find these ones where he asks me controversial questions, so I get I get canceled. I'm pretty sure it's the only reason he does it. He's just like, oh, the ultimate troll. I'll get him canceled. Ha, Rib got you, buddy. All right. Endgame was so dumb. After Infinity War, where they built it up to this Empire Strikes Back-esque moment of loss, and then all of the character development happens off screen. It's like, oh yeah, now the Hulk, he suddenly is Professor Hulk. How'd that happen? Hand wave. Oh my, it's so bad. And then they took away what could have been cool, which is the Guardians of the Galaxy characters. They all get back except for Gamora because she's dead, right? So then they have to go and try to find a way to resurrect Gamora. No, just bring a time travel version of Gamora. Oh, but she didn't have any character development that she had in those movies, so that character is totally dead and gone, superfluous. But now we got a new one that doesn't like the people, doesn't have any other same memories. Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We just needed Gamora for the third movie. But you're screwing up everybody else's thing. I don't know. We all agreed upon it. You agreed on this terrible movie with time travel as the winning solution. No, like, okay, we need this new MacGuffin. We need to go and gather this, or we need to go and talk to death or something, or like, can you bring these people back? We need to go on this massive journey into darkness in order to find this, thing and set up something else. No, just time travel. Just time travel. Okay, Loki's back. Wait, but Loki, that's Loki from like the first Avengers movie when he was a bad guy. All that character development, all of him making up with Thor and being friends with Thor and Thor being really sad about his death, like totally gone. All that character development, worthless. Yeah, it's based on comic books. Doesn't mean you have to do stupid things like comic books do. People don't like those kinds of things when they do those retcons, right? Those crappy retcons that resets characters back to zero and it gets rid of their longtime favorite characters for no reason. I don't buy that. Captain America did not earn it. He didn't earn it. Ridiculous. All the multiverses created as each of them interfere in time, getting the Infinity Stones, removing the stones from all those timelines, by the way. Yeah. It's why when the more you try to explain time travel movies, the more convoluted they get and the stupider they get. I just don't get it. How many people did they kill in those universes by doing what they did? Did they give any thought to that? Oh, we're just going to save our universe. What about the ones you went into where your chain of events caused people to die? Is that okay? Oh, it's justified for the greater good. Okay. All right. Time travel is a horrible trope unless you explain the rules, and you got to keep them simple. Back to the Future is one way to show a branching timeline, right? Your choices in the past impact the future and change the future. Basically, that there's a branching timeline, and that's the one that you're in. And the things that like if there's no why does this picture change? Like things like that. Like it shouldn't change just because the future changing his pictures from the other universe, right? It doesn't matter because you're keeping it simple and it's comedy. But as soon as you try to make it serious, it just doesn't work. That's why the movie The Lake House. I don't know if you've ever seen The Lake House. If you have a wife, you probably have, or you may have. That'd be more of an option there. More of a situation. But I watched The Lake House. The first time I watched The Lake House, the time travel got me. I was just like, oh my word. Because of the way they've set this up, the whole thing, Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock fall in love, blah, blah, blah. But the reason they fall in love is because he dies in the beginning of the movie. So she goes to the lake house that he had lived at in the past. And they start writing these letters and falling in love. And I was like, holy crap. If she tells him not to go there that day, and he doesn't die, thus making her go to the lake house, then it's a paradox. It's a huge paradox. He doesn't go. She never goes to the lake house. He dies. Then he dies. She goes to the lake house. It's this huge paradox, just over and over and over again. And I was like, holy crap, there's no way he can come back. He's just going to be dead. That's the only way to resolve the paradox is to not. And he just dies and that's it. He dies and the timeline continues and he doesn't come back. Or else she would have never gone to the lake house. So, I'm a crier. I cry at things. I was like, I just wasted my time on this movie. These characters fall in love, and I'm not even going to see them. And I shed a single manly tear, right? Just a single manly tear came out of this eye. This one where you can see it. Just like this. Because of the time travel paradox. I was like, there's no way. There's no way that they can bring him back. And then he just walks up. No big deal, nonchalantly, like, oh, I didn't go that day. And I was like, wait, you didn't go? But why did she go to the lake house then? At what point did the magic affect her that she jumped into this alternate timeline from her original timeline? And how did it happen? So stupid. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. However, Spock is not willing. Spock is sacrificing himself when he says that. For Spock, it's about his responsibility and his personal ethical choice to make that decision. And he doesn't require it of others if he can do it himself. So Spock is not some, pragmatist or something, or I don't even know if that's the right philosophical term, but like utilitarian, where he's going to use somebody else in his place and say, like I can still preserve myself by just sending someone else in there. No, he says if the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one, I will be the one to save the many. And then the reflection of that, or not the opposite, but the sort of I'll call it a reflection of that, is his friends then making their own individual choices to say, no, in this case, the needs of the many do not outweigh the needs of the one. Therefore, the needs of the one outweigh the needs of the many. We will sacrifice our careers, our lives for you to bring you back. It's not about whether or not they can justify it being, in some sort of like, well, always it's morally right to sacrifice the few for the needs of the many. I don't think Spock would do that. Right? If you go to the trolley problem, right? The idea of the trolley problem, you kill these people or this person by switching the trolley on the tracks, as we all know from The Good Place, right? Illustrated in that to gruesome detail. But that's not what's presented in an Endgame. They don't talk about the ethical ramifications of it. They just blindly go into it, assuming, I guess that they're just gonna. They must know they're not changing the past. They must know they can't change the past and affect their own timeline. Except when Cap goes back in time in his own timeline, that one I don't understand. How did that happen? That movie was bad, and even the action is not great. It's just a bunch of green screen characters with nothing real running around swinging non-existent weapons that don't exist in motion capture suits. So that all that nonsense that's in there, all of this stuff that's just like, don't worry about the man behind the curtain. Don't worry about how we did it. It makes Tony's sacrifice cheap. That moment is cheapened because you have Fat Thor, and you don't explain how the Hulk overcame this issue, this problem he was having. Where is his character development? It happens off screen? So dumb. I have Infinity War over there. I don't own all the Marvel movies. I own Iron Man, and I own Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and Civil War, and Infinity War. I think that's it. And I really liked Infinity War. I thought, man, they actually made a movie where they're trying to have a little bit of pathos to it and some themes, man. Congratulations, Marvel. You finally got around to something DC did years and years and years ago. It's not just a laugh fest with a big boss fight at the end. Good job, man. And then they made Endgame. And you're just like, how did you, what did you, why did you, who did you, why? Huh? All right, let's read some more of these comments. P Money's finally here, thank God. My word, about time. You see, Back to the Future, here's what I said earlier. But you got to remember, the more serious you try to make something, the less you can excuse logical problems, and you have your suspension of disbelief. So because Back to the Future is primarily a comedy that is using time travel to make jokes or to provide tension in moments like that, then you don't Like, I've never watched him like, what's time travel? Doesn't make any sense. Because I'm not focusing on that. I'm focusing on the idea of like this timetable. He's got to, the clock's going to strike. And he's got to have the 1.21 gigawatts and all that stuff. I will forgive you for working this one time. All of those things that provide the tension for the film. That the time travel not making sense isn't a big deal, because things are that there's dramatic tension based on that he has to travel back to the future, but it doesn't create paradoxes in the same way that like the lake house does, where it would result in him never going back, because they at least set up, well, he gives the letter to Doc, and then, hypothetically that Doc in the new universe still some of the same things happened. They set that up. The Doc's life was going to be the same pretty much up until that point. So he still seeks out Marty. He and Marty still become friends. Marty works for him. All of those things because Doc knows the future. So that the timeline that they're now in still results in a time machine being made. But I don't think you have to think about all those things, because again, it's not a serious film. It's primarily a comedy, where even though Endgame has jokes in it, it's trying to be a serious film. At least as much as an action film of superheroes can be, when it's made by Marvel. Tony had no sacrifice. Tony is the villain. His death is almost poetic justice, except he is cosplaying as the hero. I don't know. I don't even, those movies are so, there's no point to them. The majority of those movies are not rewatchable and don't matter. And especially in Endgame, where you're just like, I don't care. The matter that is you already existed in the past. Time traveling you going to the past can't be made of the same matter, an antimatter friction. All right, just stop. Just stop. You're ruining all the movies. Hot Tub Time Machine. Oh, there's a good one. There's one that is just such great time travel tropes. I remember it very well. I don't know what happens in that. Back to the Future is good because it shows the 0th timeline. That's right. Yeah, Tony is. They don't deal with anything that any ethical dilemmas that the characters make for themselves. They don't really deal with them. They try to pretend like Civil War is about this ethical dilemma of Cap knowing that Hydra killed his parents or something, Tony's parents, and he didn't know that it was Bucky. I didn't know, but I don't tell you because I love Bucky and you were friends, But it's not. It's not really about that. It's just about them fighting each other. I prefer that if you're going to do I don't want to say I prefer, it's not necessarily true. I think that if I was going to do a time travel story, it would be a story where they can't change the past. So they go back to change the past, and they don't. They just fulfill whatever it was that already happened in the past. Because I don't believe in them in changing the future or changing what happened. I don't think that can happen in a world in the world. So for me, it's hard. It would be almost impossible for me to write something like that, because I'd be like, oh, but in my world, God providentially decreed this to happen and to come to pass. So, but how could he how could his decree change because somebody went back in the time? But maybe he decreed for them to go back in time and change it. But why? Oh, my word! And my reformed brain would explode. Many worlds theory. Oh yes, many worlds. Great. I think we all agree on time travel on Lost. Made perfect sense. I watched one episode of Lost in my life, and it's the one where Meriadoc Brandybuck is in some sort of like, I don't know, he's locked in something and there's like a ticking clock. I don't know. I didn't watch the show. I just know he was in it and there was some sort of he died or something. I don't remember. Blah blah blah. It's a dumb show. Dragon Ball Z did it. Many worlds theory. What? Yeah, they have time travel in Dragon Ball Z. Future Trunks. Just had to think about it for a second. And there it pops up right on the screen as I say it. They could have saved the MCU at the end of Civil War if Tony would have got his comeuppance. Explain further. It's been a while since I watched Civil War. Dragon Ball Super created several more timelines. Haven't watched it. Time travel can be fun, but not when it serves as a Deus Ex Machina, right? A god out of the machine to fix all the problems, like an Endgame. Hi, buddy. I like your crown, your manly crown that you found. The very, very manly crown. The tiara. Don't break that, but Mommy will be very sad at you if you break that. I think she's going to put it away now, the ghost mommy. What was I saying? I was yelling and ranting about something. How Endgame sucked. Tony lost the fight to Cap. I feel he dead. I'm not a Marvel reader, so Tony Stark, I only liked him because Iron Man 1 was good. And as soon as it was done with that, I was kind of like, okay, I'm kind of over this character. Oh, Captain America, I like him. The baby is mad that his tiara got stolen by the other ghost. I had a Chrono Trigger time travel. I don't know about that. Did Reese explain what he was saying? Elaborate, Reese. One of your favorite games kept it simple and mostly got it right. What, Chrono Trigger? Well, I'm scared this ghost appears to be mad about the mother ghost taking the baby ghost's tiara away. But I believe that possibly it was the mother ghost's tiara from her wedding day. So it probably was not great that the baby had control of it. Okay. Reese says Tony caused Ultron, caused Sokovia, caused Civil War, where he blames everyone else for his sins. Tony lost to Cap, but got to keep his feeling of unearned righteousness. Well, yeah, because they're not good writers, ultimately. They didn't deal about it with any of the character journeys. Their characters don't really have those many journeys. And I don't think that Tony was totally a crap bag, but the problem is these Marvel movies, there's hardly any, people pretend like there's this great depth to them. You can watch these videos where they try to glean all of these deeper things to them. And when it really comes down to it, it's not there. The character journeys are not great. Like Jeff Potts likes the Iron Man movies, and he was trying to tell me that, was it last week or so, that he thought that Tony had a great journey, and it was like Iron Man 3 was about this resolution for him. And I was like, I didn't see it, man. I don't know what movie you watched, but I definitely didn't watch the same one or get the same thing out of it. It's not the skill of the writers. It's Disney's dedication to keeping with the good feels on the test audience. I think it's both, man. You can't just blame Disney for everything. Those people worked on those movies. They're to blame. They wrote it. You can still deal with those things and have ramifications. People may not like what Zack Snyder does, but they were all pissed off that, look, Superman just killed random people by these buildings falling down. He should have been more. And then what did he do? Batman vs Superman. They actually becomes a plot point. That kind of stuff didn't really happen in Marvel. I think that's why they tried to give him an emotional send-off at the end of Endgame. Tony has now absolved himself of all his wrongdoings with one last snap. He was willing to sacrifice himself, and there's something to that. He's definitely not a perfect character. But I think for Tony, his journey, even though as flawed as a character as he is really about the journey from the character that he is at the beginning of Iron Man to, and even at the end of Iron Man, where he still feels really self-important, to willing to be sacrifice himself. He still may be a jerk, but the writers are Disney. The bottom line is that Hollywood sucks. They are over. It is the past. Hollywood had its chance. That's true. I think that they're definitely not going to wield the same power that they have. I think that this last year kind of changed their methodology, and I just don't think it's going to survive. Superman taught us the changing of the rotation of the Earth alters history. Complete scientific fact. That's true. That's true. Just fly around the Earth and make it spin backwards, and that spins time back. That makes time go backwards, if you didn't know. I just don't find those movies all that compelling. Those Superman films all to be that compelling. The only one that I thought is halfway good is the one with Richard Pryor, Superman 3. And everyone hates that one. Oh, but what about Zod? Zod's boring. Most of Superman's rogues gallery is boring. And the only time that an adaptation of Superman got it right, or did close to something that was halfway decent, was the animated series. Superman's a hard character to adapt, especially into live action. It goes back to that idea I was talking about where you can only suspend your disbelief so far. And with Superman, his superhero powers are so ridiculously strong that you can't suspend your disbelief far enough to enjoy the film completely. At least I find. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're a big Superman movie fan, but I'm not. That's why Smallville works, is because he's still getting his powers. He doesn't have them all. And he can't fly. And they realize as soon as he can fly, the show is over. As soon as he flies, the show is over, they used to say. Because they realized as soon as he's Superman, we can't write a good show. Now, I haven't watched this new Superman TV show, but I'd be really surprised if it was good. Sorry, that probably made some noise on the mic. Technically, stopping the rotation of the planet would have played Mary Hobbs with magnetic fields. Iron Giant's overrated, dude. It's overrated. I have it. It's a movie that I like. It's overrated. And it's not the best Superman movie. What, Gary? You're not streaming anymore? I was going to go over there, Gary. I was going to watch your stream. I streamed too long. And now I've got to end because the baby ghost is screaming in the background. So I'm definitely going to put this video on private as I don't want his meltdown to... Gary, you can't stream snipe me. The baby is melting down, Gary. Oh, my word. Now I can't delete it. Thanks, Gary. Jeez Louise. It's all your fault. The baby's meltdown. Forever. Encapsulated in time on Gary's channel. No, he's not. Tell her fibs. He's not even live. Not true. It's not a Superman movie, Reese. That's a category error. It's a category error. Just because it's a super powered being or robot in this case, doesn't make it a Superman movie. Category error, Reese. Jeez. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Superman's a hard character to write for, and most people write him crappy. Thus, he's probably not a great character. Just saying. And I actually like Superman. He's actually my favorite superhero. Him and Booster Gold. Am I right? Booster Gold. That's who we need to make a movie about. You know, Booster Gold's story would actually make for a really good long-form TV series. Or if they gave me 3 movies to make about Booster Gold, you know, give me a trilogy of Booster Gold films. That's what they should do. Well, at least Superman Returns. Oh, my word. Yeah, I couldn't get through reading that with a straight face. Superman Returns. I remember seeing Superman Returns in the theater. And I liked the X-Men movies that Bryan Singer had made, right? Everyone was like, oh, those are great. It's like, oh, Superman movie, that'll be good. Little did I know. Then there was all these like fake endings. But Eric Hawkins, there's a difference, right? Galaxy Quest is actually about a Star Trek-like universe. It's a celebration of Star Trek. It's not just some... there's enough similarities there that it is both a homage and a parody and a celebration of something. Iron Giant. It's like, oh, I wish I had Superman in mind when I wrote it. I don't buy it. Yeah, I don't know. Superman is a character, but not a complex one. Well, Superman is it, but you can make a story complex by focusing on Clark Kent. A good Superman story can be written. What is good about Booster Gold? Well, Booster Gold starts out as this character that is self-serving, right? He goes back in time. He's at a low point. He was a college football player who bet on his games, and so he's nothing. He works as a janitor in a museum. Not that working as a maintenance man or a janitor is nothing. I'm saying he's a nothing because he disgraced himself. It's not a disgrace to work as a maintenance man or janitor, but he disgraced himself by betting on the game, right? Regardless of why he did it. So he steals a Legion flight ring and some other technology from this museum, and then he uses a time travel pod to go back in time, and then, knowing what happened in the past, he then intervenes where Superman would be saving the day. Instead, Booster Gold saves the day. And he does it to make money. So he gets like a comic book deal and a movie deal, and he's getting all these endorsements and things so he can make money. And then for the next so many years, you got this journey of Booster Gold falling into absolute, this low point of his life. People dying, friends dying, all of this stuff. And then you get to the point where he's no longer this self-serving, selfish character, but instead he is the greatest hero that no one knows about in the DC universe, where he is going around striving to preserve timelines, and he's striving to keep the universe intact and all of this stuff. And it's absolutely fantastic. And then they made the New 52 and they ruined all of that because he failed. All of his hard work did not pay off, and they just rebooted it so they could get a momentary bump in sales, because that's what DC Comics does. They don't care about their actual storylines or making those things matter in their continuity. That's why continuity sucks, by the way. And why stories ultimately from these companies will inevitably get to a point where all of your favorite stories don't matter. But the universe keeps going on because of continuity. So it doesn't really exist anymore. All his hard work was a failure. Time travel in Star Trek 4 is legit. And by the way, Star Trek 4 is the best Star Trek film. Not Galaxy Quest, not Wrath of Khan. Star Trek 4. Should I launch the Titan Mouse of Might Artist Edition? I don't know. How many signups for your email list do you have from it? How many people are signed up for that? You can get the beginning of the story. They have the big black and white collection. You can probably find that for cheap. And then what you want to do is get the ones that were written by Jeff Johns later on, and that will pretty much provide you with everything. If you wanted to get something in between there, you could pick up 52. Not New 52. 52. The weekly series. And I mean, it's probably a big investment, but that's the highlights of it. Mark Anthony says, how wild would that have been if the reason gray whales went extinct is because the Enterprise crew took the 2 whales that spawned the remaining population? They're humpback whales. I think they caused their own problem. No, because they say why it happened. They say it was because of, there was still humpback whales in the wild in the movie, but they didn't know how to track them. But they couldn't. Okay, how do we find these whales and bring them back? Was the idea. Well, yeah, the storyline from the 80s is setting him up, and then the one written by Jeff Johns in 2000s is the one that makes him into that deeper character, with help from 52. And it's from whaling and you know, all the bad things. That's the idea. It's an environmental message. Still the best one, though. But I get what your point. That would be funny. P Money says, yeah, I admit, Gary, I don't have as much appeal for Booster Gold as others do. Yeah, Booster Gold is actually really great. Actually is. The storyline from the 80s sets him up as that it's true, both things can be true. But when those hypothetically those whales would have gotten killed, like probably those whales would have gotten killed before society changed and they stopped hunting whales to extinction. I guess, or causing their extinction. Nuclear vessels. What, can you tell me? We are looking for Alameda, where they keep the nuclear vessels. Computer. Hello, computer. Oh, it's so good. What a great film. It is. It's my favorite Star Trek film. Legitimately, it's great. You have 32 signups. How I know that's pretty decent. 32. Have you done a lot of putting it out there yet? Promoting it? How long has the list been up? Do I have a paperback? What, of Booster Gold? Of course I do. It's Pavel. It's not Pavlov. It's Pavel. Jeez. Mark Antony trying to pretend over here like he knows about Star Trek. Wrong, dude. No way. No way Search for Spock or Undiscovered Country are better than A Voyage Home. No way. A little too much LDS in the 60s. Well, double dumbass on you. It's so good. Oh, I need to watch it. I'm going to put it in after this. It's a great movie. Here's what I hate about. I'm going to make when this new computer's all set up, I'm going to start on my major, huge Star Trek review where I rant about how they've ruined Star Trek and why they can't write good Star Trek anymore. And it's going to go into philosophy and the history of Star Trek and what Star Trek is like now and how terrible it is now. It's going to be fantastic. And it's going to be hours and hours and hours long. I'll break it up into parts. Wrong. Undiscovered Country was not better than 4. You know, I made a song about Star Trek 1. You guys are now just trying to troll me with this nonsense. I don't actually hate any of the original cast movies. Even 5, I'll watch and enjoy for how how stupid it is. But 4 is, I just love it, man. 4 is the best. 4 is the best. Was so. My word. What is the name of the big paperback so I know which one to get? Well, I'll send you the links. I'll send you the links to what I recommend. But if you read Booster Gold in the 80s, you kind of have an idea of the self-serving kind of hero he was. So I don't know that you need to read that in order to see that journey, as long as you can keep that in your mind. Search for Spock, I think, is a mediocre one. I like the first one. Now, see, Eric Hawkins trying to troll here. I don't hate Star Trek by J.J. Abrams, but I call it space adventure film. It's a great space adventure film. It's certainly not Star Trek, but it's a great space adventure film. Wrong. Wrath of Khan is not as good as Voyage Home. It's good. But ultimately it comes out like personal taste, right? I think that they are both great films. But if we're going to rank them, does it really matter? As long as you have A Voyage Home number 1, what does it matter what 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are? Now, the Next Generation movies they're all garbage. All crap. Including First Contact. First Contact lovers. Crap. Star Trek 3, it's okay. It's better than 5. It's on par with 1. But it's certainly not as good as 2 or 4 or 6, which I think are the top 3. You know what the not that this is the arbiter or the determining factor of whether something was good or not, but 4 was the highest grossing until J.J. Abrams' Star Trek. The whole premise was destroyed with that one question that no one asked until the end. Oh, what does God need with a starship? Excuse me. What does God need with a starship? They're so good. Oh, I love those movies, man. 5 is terrible, though. Absolutely terrible. First Contact is crap. Yes. It is not good. But you can't say that the day after First Contact, day, man. Or was it Sunday? I don't know. It could have been good. Here's the thing. I think it could have, and it was a good concept, but I don't think if you think about it in the context of Star Trek and how they treat some of the characters and some of the things that they do, and like, I don't think it was good. I think there's a case to be made that they treated the characters inconsistently. More money does not equal good, right? I said that, didn't I? I said that. I was just stating a fact. Jeez. Not even listening. I don't know what. Oh, no. Oh, you can see my whole face. My word, that was terrible. Why did I do that? Ruined the whole show. Because websites don't have dark modes. I hate that. Every website should have a dark mode. I'm going to go on Amazon and find these things for Gary Shipman. It's probably going to be too expensive. And Gary's going to be like, I'm not going to get that just so I can read about Booster Gold. Well, yeah, you're probably right, Gary. But basically, you just need to get the rebooted series by Jeff Johns. And keep in mind what Booster Gold was like in the 80s and, stuff. So Kirk or Professor Picard. They're different, man. They're different. That's the thing. Like, comparing things are different. And so one-to-one comparisons. Comparing Wrath of Khan to 4, I don't think is valuable. As a kid, I watched 4, and I really loved it. It was the one we watched the most often. And so for me, that factors into that nostalgia and the jokes and everything. I like it. The science fiction concept of going back in time, bringing these whales and saving the future. Yeah, I like that. The personal vendetta of Khan doesn't appeal to me as much. This battle between the two of them. They're different. And the same goes for Kirk and Picard. They're different characters. Which one's a better captain? They each have their strengths. If you're going into battle, you want both of them. Because they're different. They have different strengths. So they can't just a one-to-one comparison. Who do I enjoy more? They're different. Star Trek: The Next Generation is my favorite TV show of all time. If I could only pick one show to ever watch again, it would be that. But that being said, I love the original series. So I don't have an answer for you. Sorry. Is that a cop-out? Gonna have to delete this whole thing now. Yeah, you should. Captain Jean-Luc Picard, USS Enterprise. The test is unbeatable, so I'll cheat to win. That's right. Kobayashi Maru. What was it? I forget. It was like this. I was in a class. I took a class at some point, and the teacher was like, he would put this question on his test or something. I can't remember what it was. I think it was like an extra credit question. And it's like, if you knew what the Kobayashi Maru was, you'd write it on there and you'd get extra points or something. And I was the only person that got it. I was like, wow, the rest of these people suck at life. Granted, this was after I was in the military and I was much older than everybody else that was in these classes at this school, this college. So they probably weren't as familiar with Star Trek as I was. Because they were youngsters. Greatest captain is Avery Brooks from the Captain documentary. If you haven't seen it, if you guys haven't seen that Captain's documentary that Shatner hosts, that he goes around and talks to all of them, Avery Brooks is absolutely insane. And it is fantastic. It's actually a pretty interesting documentary, but he's so crazy. Oh man. Yes. Yes, it's great. The worst captain is Janeway, though. But they tried to make her the best. Super Janeway. Janeway's always right, and everybody else is always wrong. But she's like this totalitarian dictator, and oh my word, she's terrible. The greatest captain is Captain Morgan. Am I right? Am I right? No, you're wrong, dude. It's clearly Captain Crunch. Captain Crunch was the right answer. But I was a kid. I watched Star Trek The Next Generation, and I also watched X-Men the Animated Series. Again, I didn't read comics in the 90s. I didn't read any 90s comics till much later. And even then, the ones I read were like random Superman issues and stuff. So I watched X-Men the Animated Series. And I was like, man, if they were making a live action movie of this, Patrick Stewart's going to have to play him. And then they announced it. They announced an X-Men movie, and I was like, "Oh, who's gonna play Professor Xavier?" And it was Patrick Stewart. Boom! Yes, awesome, fantastic. You know, the actress that played Janeway in 7 of 9 had some sort of feud going on. Is that true? Kate Mulgrew is her name, by the way. Jeez, terrible, just terrible. And Jerry Ryan. They have names. Her name isn't 7 of 9. Was she jealous? That show, you think about it. Like, as a kid, I didn't realize. Good night, Gary. Sleep tight. As a kid, I didn't realize. It's just a new character. I didn't know. But she's got this super form-fitting costume on. And it's clear why they brought her in, to kind of spice up the joint and you get some boosted ratings, because Kate Mulgrew wasn't bringing them in. And you go back to these other shows, and they had Yeoman Rand and Uhura, and then they've got the Deanna Troi, and then on Deep Space Nine, they've got a couple of different pretty ladies to look at. And then you've got Voyager, and it's Cass with this short haircut, looking like a little fairy pixie running around, and Kate Mulgrew, no offense to the woman, but not exactly bringing in a certain demographic. Yes, most cereal is awful. Most of the cheap cereal, sugary cereal, is terrible if you don't eat it all in like 10 seconds. Dead serious. There were real issues between the two after the 7 of 9 character was introduced. Yeah, because people were like, heck yeah, no, the show's getting good. That would, I guess. Again, I was a kid. And I was like, oh yeah, new character. Oh, she was a Borg. Oh, cool. Oh, she's learning things. Oh, she's fighting the Rock. Oh, she's wrestling the Rock. I watch that on Thursday nights. It's Wednesday night, and I get to watch The Rock 2 nights in a row. Unless my dad was home, then we couldn't sneak it and watch it, because he'd find out. But if he was at work, we could sneak and watch wrestling when we weren't supposed to. I think that's it. I think that's all we're going to talk about. Godzilla, again. What was the final tally on the vote? Let's see. The final tally... Mythic monster. Okay, he's a mythic monster. We get it. Not a monstrous myth. If you guys didn't know, Gary is going to be launching an artist edition of Titan, which should be really cool to have all that art at the size that he drew it. It should be pretty impressive and really cool to look at it really close up. I don't know. Gary did leave. Was collapse under their own weight. It's true. But I don't know if you're going to be able to see the pencils underneath, or like he doesn't make mistakes. You won't see those. But you'll at least get to see that art at that level and sort of see all of what he's doing in that art. So that should be cool. And you can sign up for that. If you on Indiegogo, the mailing list or whatever for that, to keep you apprised of when it comes out. Also, his Titan Mouse of Might is still available, but I'm pretty sure everybody here knows that. We have a lot of new viewers or new subscribers here on the channel that are watching the news show. So if any of them are actually watching this, which I doubt because they came for the political content, and there's none in this stream. But if there is, Gary is a fantastic artist, and Mark Anthony will put his link to his comic book in the chat for me because Mark Anthony is a great mod. Also, be aware that my friend Eric Hawkins here in the chat, he does a comic book called The Zombiful World of Oz. And it's one of the only ongoing comics, like single issue floppy comics that I care about. That I'm actually compelled to know what happens in the next entry in it. And he's going to be launching that soon. The next crowdfunding for that. Yeah. Take your time, man. I don't know exactly when, but I'm sure he's launching it soon. I think it was about this time last year he launched one, or maybe I'm just crazy. There you go. Titan 2 Mouse of Might. So those guys make some great comics. Much better than I could ever do. You can also check out Matthew D. Reese in the chat. He does stuff on idealcomics.net. So you can look that stuff up. What else? There's a bunch of stuff I need to finish. I need to finish Peter the Problematic Person. His little arc, his little story about going to the bank. And I need to draw that, which should be pretty easy now that I've developed my skills. And I need to finish Steven Starlight. Get that out. It's nearly finished. It's nearly finished. And then there's other works that I'm doing that are in the pipeline, so to speak. I'm writing a script for a Western comic. I really like Westerns. So I've been talking with a guy that you guys may have heard of to collaborate on this. Should be cool. We'll see if he accepts the script or not, what he thinks about it. But it's going to be a collaboration, art and everything, story, everything. It's going to be cool. And it's not like when most of these comics are talking about superhero comics or fantasy or science fiction type stuff, but this is just going to be a straight up Western. So if you like Westerns in the vein of John Wayne or Clint Eastwood, you'll probably like this. At least that's my goal. That's my goal. Whoa, Mark, don't get me in trouble, dude. Yeah, Mike Miller does comics. That's true. Does he really need my help, though? Everybody here knows him. I'm just banking on whether or not those new people watch this or are watching this. They could be lurking, which is fine. Welcome, lurkers. What else? Did I get everybody? Who else is in the chat that does things? Oh, and anyways, yeah, then somebody else is writing a script that I may draw. But they've got more important projects to work on, or more pressing projects, more immediate projects. So that one may get backburnered. But it sits with Skinny. It's another Ralph comic. But as my skills have developed since the last year when I drew my first Ralph comic, I think this one's going to be a lot better. I think that's it. Oh, yeah, of course, pinned at the top of this live chat is the Patreon link, patreon.com/FlyFoxPro, where you can, for even as low as $1 a month, you can help support this channel. And it helps. When we get to $50 a month, launching a podcast, it helps support the money that I spend to produce things and pay for things like Dropbox so I can transfer files to people and do and host podcasts and things like that. So if you guys at all are interested in supporting that, feel welcome to do so. Otherwise, just go buy Gary Shipman stuff. And in the link in the description to my news videos, you'll see the link to Doug Garrett's song, I Don't Want to Be a Commie. Go buy that. It's an awesome song. All right. Adios, everybody. We'll check you out again later.
Explosion!